game. State of the Game is sponsored by Jack in the Box.
6 months ago, you teach in school, now you're scoring a touchdown in an NFL game. I mean, it's kind of something he'll carry to the grave.
Got to look for the bright spots. There's got to be a silver lining in every bad season. And so far, Tim Cedar may be the best story out at Valley Ranch. Glad you're with us. This is State of the Game. To the diehard fan, all the planets are lined up, and everything is back to the way it used to be for the Cowboys. Troy Aikman throws for 300 yards. The defense holds the team to 6 points. Even Tim Cedar gets in the end zone. But that was Cincinnati at home. This is the Ravens, and it's at their place. The Cowboys go to Baltimore for the first time in 19 years, and this game sold out a long time ago. The Ravens just beat the Titans, finally scored some points on offense in the process, but they got to 7-4 with defense, and this defense is very good.
Their front four is nasty.
These guys are powerful. They're quick.
You run out of adjectives describing the way Baltimore defense runs.
I mean, they have everything. These guys can hurt you every way possible.
We keep those guys off balance if we can, take advantage of the matchups that we create through whatever formations and motions that we use. I think it's going to make for a better day for us.
And talking about that defense, let's take a look at some of the numbers. 14 first downs a game, 11 points a game. Number 1 against the run. Number 5 against the pass. It will be tough for the Cowboys offense on Sunday. It was the biggest game, and without a doubt, one of the best games at College Station in years. A state record 87,000 jammed into Kyle Field last week, but Mark Ferris will only remember one person. That's Torrance Marshall. A&M had a 3-point lead and just 7 minutes to burn, and Marshall picked off Ferris and took it back for the game winner. The Ags didn't win, but they did play well, and they played well in a very big game, which has been the knock against R.C. Slocum coach teams before.
Disappointed in the loss. The kids played hard. You have to credit Oklahoma for making the plays they needed to make to win the ball game. I guess that's what you would expect of a #1 ranked team. I think my hat's off to them. They hung in there and played and made the plays to win there at the end.
I'm very excited about the way we played. I mean, when you play the #1 team in the nation and you play them that good and that close, that says a lot about your team and about the kind of guys we got on this team, and how good we really are. And we hadn't been getting a lot of respect and stuff. People didn't think we were that good, but I mean, nobody else has really played them that close.
After that game, a little bit of a break for the Ags before another big one. Texas and A&M both with this weekend off in anticipation of their matchup on Friday, November 24th, day after Thanksgiving, 2:30 in Austin. A&M and Texas should be another great game in that series in Austin. His team's going to a bowl. He's barely been in West Texas a year, but Tech head coach Mike Leach is already having to fight for his reputation. Internet message boards have not been kind, and a sports magazine in Kentucky, where Leach used to coach, published a story that said Leach may be out at Tech after this season, just one season. Leach hired an attorney to go after that magazine, and less than a week after the whole thing started, Tech gave Leach a 1-year contract extension. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. But it's a lot to have on your mind the week before Leach takes the Raiders to Norman, Oklahoma to take on his old team and his old quarterback, Josh Heupel.
It'll be exciting to go down there, and they're a good football team, good coaches, good players, and it'll be fun to, tee it up. I mean, anybody you tee it up against, it's fun to do. I think once the game starts, it'll be another game, but I'll know everybody out there. I'll actually know what the person looks like underneath his helmet. That football does have an impersonal quality from the standpoint there's just a helmet and you don't know what's inside.
This week's game is it for Tech until the bowl. The Sooners still have to make a trip to Stillwater to face Oklahoma State, and the week after that, the Big 12 championship game in Kansas City. Plenty of coaches already shown the door this year in college football, and one name keeps coming up on everybody's wish list. TCU's Dennis Franchione is the guy in demand this year. Arizona State is the job that seems like the best fit. It's open, and Franchione may be interested. He just won't have anything to say about it until after the Frogs go bowling for a 3rd straight year. Here's WFAA-TV's George Reba.
Coach Friend's team now falls from the ranks of the undefeated.
Now that TCU's perfect season is no longer a possibility, the Horned Frogs have their eyes set on other goals, like the school's first 10-win season since 1938. and a return trip to the Mobile, Alabama Bowl on December 20th, where they collected a win and a trophy less than a year ago.
It's probably not what we wanted, but we're grateful. I'm thankful that we're just in the bowl game. I don't care what bowl we were going to. I wanted to play one more game because I only have 2 guaranteed in my life.
But the Horned Frogs have not forgotten their only loss of the season against San Jose State, a loss that knocked them out of the BCS Bowl picture. But even when they were undefeated, TCU had almost no shot at a national championship anyway.
Well, that's one of the things I'd like to see changed. You know, we have made the football means of declaring a champion very exclusive to a large degree, where in basketball, the Evansvilles and the College of Charlestons and a lot of other schools get to live the dream and go take a shot at it. And I have a little bit of a difficult time with that.
You think about that a lot, but you know, you can't dwell on that. You know, there's nothing you can do about it now.
Still, TCU has collected its share of rings the past 2 years, including a Sun Bowl victory in 1998, followed by a co-championship in the Western Athletic Conference last year. But while the trophy case has been receiving a lot of new hardware lately, their next bowl game will be the first of the holiday season.
Well, that's kind of nice, I guess. You know, hopefully we're #1 in something anyway.
These programs represent every bowl game that TCU's ever played in, 16 to be exact, but this is the first time they get a chance to play in 3 in a row. George Reed, Channel 8 Sports in Fort Worth.
And last game for the Frogs and LaDainian Tomlinson this afternoon at Amon Carter Stadium, and it should be a good one. UTEP's 8-2, perfect in the WAC. Kickoff is at 2 o'clock. Still ahead, if you think a couple of more big bats are going to help the Rangers out, you might want to wait and see what Rafael Palmeiro thinks. His recipe for rebuilding is coming up, and they said it. And the Mavs are about where they should be, but Michael Finley is not. We'll break down his early season slump when State of the Game continues.
With the foot. You always get that first-class feeling with VIP treatment at Village Lincoln Mercury Mazda of Dallas. For 5 days only, pay $99 down on every Lincoln, Mercury, and Mazda in stock. Choose from an enormous selection, only $99 down. You won't find these deals anywhere else, and the savings just can't be beat. So come in and get the VIP treatment you deserve. Only at Village Lincoln Mercury Mazda of Dallas. I-20 at the Hampton Wheatland exit.
Fact. Morgan Buildings and Spas is the factory. Others may say it, but Morgan does it. Fact. Morgan spas are designed and handcrafted at one of our own factories. Choose your favorite spa today with the features you want. Fact. Morgan spas have the greatest variety of therapeutic jets in the industry, with the largest choice of layouts available, from 10 to 105 jets. And Morgan spas are priced starting as low as $59 a month. Hurry to this Morgan Buildings and Spas location. Factory direct means big savings to you, and that's a fact.
Want to get behind the wheel of a real race car at Texas Motor Speedway? At the Ruth Driving School, we teach you the art of race car driving. Learn how to control skids, emergency braking, and cornering at the limit. Driving techniques that could save your life or your passenger's life. At the Ruth Driving School, we supply you with everything. You just arrive and drive. To register for a Ruth driving class, call 1-800-RACE-NOW or log on to www.racenow.com.
He's always hustling you out of your RX. Fine. Then he can just schlep 3 kids and a dog. What? You're out in the rain with no vehicle skid control so he can impress his fancy clients with his 6-disc CD Lexus premium sound system? Does this man care for you at all? Tell him to use that Lexus DVD navigation system he loves so much to find himself a Lexus dealer. He can buy his own RX 300. He knows how reasonable it is. Whew. I gotta cut back on those double espressos.
Have you tried to get Andy Moog to come into court? Have you subpoenaed him?
I believe he's in the audience.
I believe he is. Is Andy Moog in the audience? You're Andy Moog. I want you.
Step forward, please.
Former star Andy Moog and Judge Wapner will try and explain that in a few minutes. As much as Mark Cuban likes to talk, you had to figure it was only a matter of time before his mouth cost him some cash. In this case, didn't cost him much, but the NBA did get to Cuban for $5 grand after he made a few negative remarks about the officials Sunday in Sacramento. Then on Wednesday, continuing the trend in Phoenix, he had to be restrained after the game when he went after official Hugh Hollins. More on Cuban's little tirades later in the show. The good news for the Mavs is that the teams they've lost to are the teams they should lose to. The bad news is, with the exception of the Utah game a couple of weeks ago, the Mavs haven't been close in those games. Don Nelson's been playing with the lineup a little bit, but one thing he can't control is Michael Finley. And Finley is not playing as well as his all-star status would indicate. 25%, 24%, 12 of 49 in field goal attempts from the floor, 25% from three-point land. Those games Sunday through Wednesday. Finley not scoring as he usually does, but the Mavs still playing fairly well, so maybe if Finley improves, things will improve for the Mavericks as well. Like Mark Cuban of the Mavs, Tom Hicks and the Rangers have no shortage of cash, but is Tom Hicks willing to spend the kind of cash it's going to take to land baseball's biggest offseason prize, and that would be Alex Rodriguez. Hicks is trying to set up a face-to-face meeting with A-Rod and his agent Scott Boras, while at the same time adding fuel to the Sammy Sosa trade rumors and trying to stay in the fight for Ellis Burks. What's missing from this picture? Pitching. John Wetland may not be back, not to mention holes in the starting rotation. So if you're going to blow out the budget the next couple of years, get some good arms. But maybe that's next year, because right now Hicks seems more than slightly interested in A-Rod. He's going to try and meet with him and his agent Scott Boras sometime this week. And when he does, no doubt these numbers will be on the table. These are projections Boras and his research staff have come up with for a 40-year-old A-Rod. A-Rod's 25 right now. The Mets have already said that the demands for Rodriguez are too much, but somebody is going to pony up. This week we should see how serious Tom Hicks is, but those would be some amazing numbers. But again, only projections. And billboards, an office at the ballpark, private jet service, and an escalator clause, all those are things the Mets say are part of the A-Rod deal. Coming up after the break, his dad took Texas to a national title. Now Houston Street hopes he's headed down the same road. And can anybody stop Roy Williams? Texas best is still ahead, and he's part of it. Stick around.
When I first came to the YMCA, I'd given birth to twins and later had triplets. I gained a lot of weight, and life was very stressful. I started coming to the Y every night to work out. The Y renews me. I'm a better person, a better wife, and a better mother because of it. Now our whole family comes to the Y and is healthier and happier.
We build strong kids, strong families, and strong communities.
Extreme versatility, exceptional comfort, extraordinary value. Everything you want in an SUV, you'll find during Sport Utility season at your Texas Ford dealer. Now get extreme savings on Ford Explorer with 0.9 financing and $1,500 cash back. Plus, check out the Explorer Sport 2-door, the Explorer Sport Track, and the extremely hip new Ford Escape. For exciting vehicles and exceptional savings, don't wait. Get to Sport Utility season at your Texas Ford dealer today.
You can get this hair loss research update free by calling 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now.
I can actually ask girls out that are my own age now and not have people look at me funny like I'm some old man asking this young girl out. It's incredible. Hair Club for Men has changed my life.
It's quick, it's easy, it's painless, there's no surgery. And what I love about it is I can do whatever I want every day. I can go swimming, I can play sports. You won't believe it until you try it yourself.
You can get this hair loss research update free by calling 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now.
When I went to the Hair Club for Men, they did a wonderful job on my hair. I love it. I would recommend this to anybody.
I couldn't believe before that he had no hair. I mean, he still looks good, but after, it was amazing. He was like a totally new guy. I couldn't believe it. And he's very active, and you can't tell the difference with his hair. It's amazing.
Hair Club. Over 25 years of hair loss research available at your fingertips. Call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB today.
Any doubt in your mind that this jersey is not game-worn or not your jersey?
I don't believe so. I don't think I wore this jersey in a game.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
You can
take it off here.
A little bit of extra rest for Mac Brown of the Horns this week, but the UT basketball team is back on the floor and they're enjoying the preseason NIT. Rick Barnes could still have Chris Mim in the middle, but it looks like they're going to be just fine and probably be a little bit more athletic. We've already taken care of Navy and Cal thanks to a couple of big games from Duncanville's Chris Owens. Horns are now on their way to Madison Square Garden for the semifinals of this tournament against the winner of last night's game between Duke and Villanova. If you're a fan of Texas football, you probably heard of James Street, and if you keep following Texas football, you might hear about his son. Here's KVUE-TV's David Johnson.
When you talk about the glory days of Texas football, it's hard not to mention the name James Street. 30 years later, Street's son Houston is making a name for himself at Westlake. And he doesn't have to look far for a little football advice.
He usually sees exactly what I saw. He's like, were you thinking this, were you thinking this? And we just kind of discuss, and we go over, and it's just fun. I mean, to have him, who knows so much more than I do, and probably will know about it, to just be up there and looking and helping me and helping all of us just get better every week.
It's a lot tougher sitting in the stands than it is out there going out there and playing. You know, you'd like to go out there and do it for them, or you'd like to get involved. Of course, as old as I am, they don't want me to get out there and do it for them.
Hard to believe it was 3 decades ago that Father James won a national championship. 31 years later, the chip off the old block is trying to duplicate that feat on the high school level.
Ryan's pass is intercepted by Houston Street.
That's a big-time goal, ever since 7th grade. We've always said we wanted to win one, and I think we've got the talent, I think we've got the team. It just takes hard work and just consistency, but I think we can do it. That'll be awesome.
Like father, like son. James Street also played baseball at Texas, so Houston, following in Dad's footsteps, signing a letter of intent with Augie Garrido and the Longhorns.
I can't be more proud of the job that Houston's done to grow and continue to improve and work at it. He works hard at it, and that's what it takes to be a winner.
A winning combination under one roof. It's all in the family with the Streets. David Johnson, KVUE 24 Sports.
A couple of years ago, Doug Melvin of the Rangers tried to get Randy Johnson and couldn't. Tried to get Roger Clemens and didn't. So why not keep trying until you do land somebody like that instead of Darren Oliver? It's the question you can't get away from no matter how much you like Alex Rodriguez or Sammy Sosa. And it's a question I put to Rafael Palmeiro Wednesday night on Sports Talk.
I'm not sure what the other guys are thinking, but I read the papers. I watch for, for things that are happening. I'm very interested in seeing what our team is doing. I mean, I don't have 15 years left in my career. I'm winding down my career, and I want to see and I want to be involved in the players that they bring in, and I want to make sure that, that we do the right thing.
And he strokes this one.
Well, I'd love to have A-Rod on the team. There's no doubt about it that he would help our team tremendously, but the way I look at it is, he was on that Seattle team 2 years ago with Ken Griffey Jr. Exactly. And they were in our division, and I think they came in 3rd or 4th place. So, you can have great hitting, but if you don't have pitching, you're not going to do very much. And I think the reason that Seattle won this year is because they went out and they got some pitching. Their bullpen was strong. He did go out and have a great year, but I don't think that he was the main reason that team made it to the playoffs.
And he strokes this one.
Sammy would be great. I mean, Sammy would be great. He could hit 60 home runs and drive in 130 runs, but, so is Mike Messina and so is Mike Hampton. And, it's a proven fact that you got to have pitching, not only to win throughout the season, but when you get in the playoffs, that's really what rises to the occasion.
And one more plug for the Palmeiro camp. He's got a new website coming out in a few weeks. The address is Rafi25.com, so be sure and check that out. Our Bob Sturm also has a website, and he's also got a few thoughts about whether or not Mark Cuban is crossing the line. Stay tuned for that. And he did what Emmitt Smith couldn't against the Bengals. He got in the end zone. More on Tim Cedars' big day when we come back on State of the Game.
Let's focus a little bit on the travel weather now. We, of course, talked about the busy weather in our state today. And anywhere along the southern Gulf Coast, we'll see quite a bit of cloudiness and rain and thunderstorms. As the cool front moves through, drier weather will move in, as folks are seeing in the Rockies and the West Coast right now. But Great Lakes and parts of the Midwest, quite a bit of snowfall off and on throughout the day. It'll be very cold in the northern U.S. and even in Oklahoma, Kansas, and parts of North Texas. That's why we have the winter weather advisories. We will see that changeover in some places. Any accumulations in North Texas should be around an inch, but the closer you get to the Red River, the more likely, the better the chance you will see more accumulations. Everything down south will be just rain and thunderstorms, but it'll be a cold rain for today with highs staying in the 40s and 30s for most of us around the state. We'll continue to keep you updated with the radar in just about 10 minutes, but until then, have a look at the city forecast around the nation if you're traveling.
Sturm's State of Mind is brought to you by Jack in the Box.
Jack, welcome to Signs and Stuff and Things.
Yeah, I got this spicy chicken sandwich with just the right amount of spice, and it's served hot because we won't make it till you order it. But here's the big thing. It's real chicken breast. You got a sign like that? No. 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 No! Real chicken breast! How do you stay in business?
How fast can I get a chipmunk tube top sign?
Want to get behind the wheel of a real race car at Texas Motor Speedway? At the Roost Driving School, we teach you the art of race car driving. Learn how to control skids, emergency braking, and cornering at the limit. Driving techniques that could save your life or your passenger's life. At the Roost Driving School, we supply you with everything. You just arrive and drive. To register for a Roost driving class, call 1-800-RACE-NOW or log on to www.racenow.com.
Village is people, village is proud, and village is standing high above the crowd. There's VIP to see you through, with very impressive prices too. You're treated special every day, that's the village way. Where value is priority one, the best selection under the sun. Discover Village and VIP. Wait.
Then we get Mr. Moog, who I'm told was a very famous hockey player for the Boston Bruins. Were you, sir?
I had my moments, thank you.
Good, good. I've had mine, too. I've had mine, too. At any rate, Mr. Moog says that it isn't his jersey.
Finally, some explanation. That was former Stars goalie and current owner of the Fort Worth Brahmas, Andy Moog, Thursday on the People's Court. He was subpoenaed by the defendant to appear as a witness to testify whether or not he had worn a particular Boston Bruins sweater while he played at Boston. Unfortunately, things didn't work out for the defendant. Judge Wapner, who's obviously not a sports fan, found in favor of the plaintiff. Good to see Andy Moog back. If you didn't already like the guy, it's hard not to after what Cowboys kicker Tim Cedar did against the Bengals on Sunday. With 2 misses, he was well on his way to a day that could have cost a kicker on a good team his job. Cedar got his act together, though, and not only hit 3 straight field goals, he added the first ever touchdown from the Cowboys kicker and finished with 16 points in the second half. In all, 17 of the Cowboys' 23.
Well, it was easy for me because the other guys did all the work, so all I had to do was grab the ball and run it in the end zone and, enjoyed it.
I was worried about him making the extra point because I thought he'd be so excited about making the kick. His heart was probably pumping about 180 beats a minute. I mean, 6 months ago you're teaching school, now you're scoring a touchdown in an NFL game. I mean, it's kind of something he'll carry to the grave.
He was a very productive running back in high school, and he's an athlete.
I was a linebacker in high school.
Cedar's rookie season in the NFL, the numbers are pretty good until he missed 2 on Sunday. He would have been 18 of 20 if he had not. 16 of 20, perfect on extra points. Scored that touchdown, 77 points in all. He is our Texas Lone Star this week. Talked about Mark Cuban's week earlier in the show. He has now been fined. He has had to be restrained. But has he crossed the line? Here's Bob Stern.
Hey everybody, I'm Bob Sturm, and this is my state of mind this week. Now, I want to talk about Mark Cuban a little bit. Let me make this very clear. I love Mark Cuban. I love what he's done for the Mavericks. I love the fact that we all care about the NBA again. I love what he's doing with this basketball team. There's one thing I don't love, though, and that is the fact that it appears he's making a habit out of filling the ears of the referees around the league. In Sacramento, he got fined $5,000. In Phoenix on Wednesday night, he was in the referee's ear again. He had to be restrained by security personnel. Mark, understand this. I know you have an opinion. I know you have a right to say what you want to say, but don't make things more difficult on the Dallas Mavericks. If you've been seeing them play lately, you know they're having a hard enough time winning on the road against better teams. They're having a hard enough time making this playoff run. But the last thing you need is the refs taking out their anger at Mark Cuban on the basketball team and not allowing them to get to the free throw line. So, Mark, keep the enthusiasm, keep the money flowing in, keep everything exactly like it is, but back off on the refs. You're going to make it difficult for your team to win. This way, your team can win, and you'll be happy. And that's my state of mind.
Thanks a lot, Bob. I couldn't agree more. Cuban did have a closed-door meeting with Don Nelson after the Phoenix game, and I hope Nelson told him take it down just a notch or two when he's around the court. After the break, it's the best game I've seen this year, and it's definitely worth a second look. Texas Best is up next when we come back.
Tonight on North Texas Ford Sports Talk.
On the next edition of Sports Talk, Tim Kalshaw in studio for us as we look back to the Cowboys-Ravens game from Sunday in Baltimore. Plenty to break down from this game, plenty to look ahead to next week as well. Cowboys and Ravens, Tim Kalshaw, lead columnist from the Dallas Morning News, will be in studio on the next Sports Talk. Don't miss the show.
That's tonight on North Texas Ford Sports Talk. Live at 7, repeat at 11. Only on TXCN, Cable Channel 38.
Every morning on the way to work, Greg tells you about his new RX 300. The wood and leather-wrapped steering wheel, the Lexus DVD navigation system, the vehicle skid control, the 220 horsepower VVTi V6. You're starting to hate Greg. You want his RX. You can have it for so much less than Greg claims he paid for it. By the way, Greg's no single-digit handicap either. See your Dallas-Fort Worth area Lexus dealer.
Jack, welcome to Signs and Stuff and Things.
Yeah, I got this spicy chicken sandwich with just the right amount of spice, and it's served hot because we won't make it till you order it. But here's the big thing. It's real chicken breast. You got a sign like that?
After all, the film is rated PG, but also expect a welcome amount of playfulness and a terrific message.
Brilliant! You reject your own nose because it represents the glitter of commercialism. Why didn't I think of that?
This Grinch movie might be Ron Howard and Jim Carrey's best work. Carrey even sings the famous Grinch song in multiple voices. And his likable, agreeable dog almost steals the film. So if you look and listen closely, you'll find wonderful detail in this funny, sophisticated holiday film. Gary Cogill, Channel 8 News.
All the latest news from across the state still to come here on TXCN.
From WFAA-TV, the Dallas Morning News, and the state's most trusted news organizations, this is TXCN.
4 days of football and 3 big ones right here in the Lone Star State. Coming up on State of the Game, 3 true freshmen and a sophomore roll up 43 points on A&M's Wrecking Crew defense. Also, the Cowboys spend another Thanksgiving watching Randy Moss eat up big chunks of yardage on his way to the end zone. And LaDainian Tomlinson spends the holidays as a member of the TCU football team for the very last time. We've got it all covered on State of the Game right after a trip to the news desk and a short break. Keep it here.
And good morning. It is just now after 9 o'clock. Tim will have today's forecast in just a few minutes. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tracy Johnson. In this morning's headlines, the battle for the White House continues as the U.S. Supreme Court decides to hear an appeal by the Bush campaign. Plus, the holiday shopping season is upon us, and cool and wet weather in Texas is having an impact on shoppers. We'll have more on these stories in the next half hour. Right now, though, we go to Jim Van Fleet with a quick check of your forecast.
Well, we saw a rainy and cloudy start to the holiday weekend, but it looks like the second half will be sunny and pleasant. Let's talk about the details. We will see mostly fair skies around North Texas today with high temperatures around 60 degrees. Maybe some patchy fog in the morning, but I think the moisture is quickly working its way out of the state. Clear and 37 for tonight with north winds around 8 to 12 miles per hour. Should be a very lovely day, and almost a little warm around the hill country and south central areas in the state. Fair skies in 67 today. Expect clear skies in 42 overnight tonight. And in the east, well, on our state, we're going to see still 60s along the coast. 64 today around Galveston and Houston, and even as far inland as around College Station. Fair and 44 for tonight. That's the next 24 hours. Coming up a little bit later this morning, a look at that 5-day outlook and a very nice forecast for the next few days. But first, let's get you caught up on your Saturday morning State of the Game with Brian Giesenslaw.
State of the Game is sponsored by Jack in the Box.
I wanted this game bad, and you know, last year as a freshman, I made some stupid freshman mistakes, but I redeemed myself today.
There's not a better time to watch football than Thanksgiving weekend, and we've got a full plate of action to get to this week. Welcome to State of the Game. I'm Brian Giesenslaw. It's one of the longest-running rivalries in college football, and even though this year there was no conference title on the line, A&M and Texas still got together in Austin. Both teams pretty beat up, both teams on the way to a bowl game, and both with something to prove. Here's KVUE TV's Michael Jenkins.
The Horns came into this game as the best pass defense in the nation, and Greg Brown proves it by returning Mark Ferris's first pass of the game for a touchdown, and Texas leads 7-0.
The ball seemed to take forever, and it just popped up. And I made a good adjustment and caught the ball, and the rest is history.
The Aggies answer in the second quarter. Richard Whitaker scampers into the end zone from 15 yards out, but Texas leads 10-7 at halftime. In the third, freshman Roy Williams does what he's done all year long, jump-starting the Texas offense by taking this reverse 40 yards for the touchdown, and the Horns go up 10, 17-6.